Hello, welcome back to Techiechap. Today we're going to be looking at a distribution that I feel hasn't had too much love over the last few months, and that distribution is KDE Neon. So why don't you join me after the intro and we'll take a closer look. Welcome back. So today we are looking at a Linux distribution called KDE Neon. And KDE Neon is another desktop environment. We've been looking at the GNOME or the GNOME desktop environments in recent videos. So I wanted to look at KDE a bit closer. Really within desktop environments, the two biggest ones are KDE and GNOME. So I've thought I'd download KDE Neon, and KDE Neon is a distribution that I feel doesn't get an awful lot of love from the press, and I really don't understand why. I've been using this distribution for a few days now, and I'll let you know what I think of it at the end. But so far, it's been really speedy compared to the GNOME releases I've reviewed recently. So what is KDE Neon? KDE Neon is provided by directly the KDE community, and it features the latest and greatest of KDE software on there. Let me introduce you to what's in the KDE desktop or KDE Neon when you first download it. There's this application center which is called Discover. Discover is pretty good. It is already got functionality that links directly into Flatpak and Snap, so it's got quite a large amount of software in there. You can of course download Synaptic Package Manager if you want a bit more choice, and then it has this file manager called Dolphin. Now Dolphin is one of the highest recommended file managers within Linux, and the reason for that is because it has so many options. Now Dolphin within KDE Neon has all sorts of features built in. So for example, thumbnail previews are on the folders as well as on the files themselves, so you can see them straight away when you're browsing through them, which is great. You can see that on the pictures folder there. And there are just so many options within this file manager. I think it would almost be worth doing a review just on Dolphin itself, and that would probably take half an hour. So within the Dolphin file manager, you can see a lot of the preview options that you can basically it will preview almost any file type that you can imagine there. You can set behaviors. Just to explain, behaviors is about how the Dolphin file manager react to things like your clicks. So from the get-go, KDE Neon is single click to open files, which can throw some people at first, but as you can see from the general there and under behavior, you can actually change that behavior to double clicking on files and folders to open them. Single clicking on files can be a problem when you are doing things like renaming files, and you single click on it to rename it, just from muscle memory, and it just opens the file. So sometimes changing the behavior within Dolphin to double clicking can be the better choice. Well, like with every distribution review, let's have a look at what wallpapers we get with this distribution KDE Neon. I've been playing with this for a couple of days, so there's a couple of applications that are have been installed, and these wallpapers are from a theme that I was playing around with, which is called Aratim Dark. Theming on KDE Neon is really easy, and to be honest, you could probably spend a whole day theming your KDE Neon environment. I mean, one of the benefits of KDE as a desktop environment is you can customize this to look exactly as you want it to look like. So you know, if you want it to look exactly like a Mac OS environment, you can do that. If you want it to look like Windows 11, you can do that. There are themes out there to download that make it easy for you, or you can go in and just customize your very own environment, which is just fantastic. Within the settings, system settings, you can see there's an awful lot of options here. And one of the amazing things here is the resolution choice on my UHD screen. I mean, it's just fantastic. Given where I've come from with GNOME, where resolution has been a little bit of a problem on UHD screens, KDE just basically sucks it up and gives you every resolution under the planet. I've set my resolution to 2560 by 1440 there, just because, you know, I wear glasses, and if I set it to the full UHD mode, everything becomes so tiny that I can barely see it. But if you've got good eyesight, wow, it looks amazing. What I would say about this desktop environment is everything from a look and appearance point of view is ultra sharp. So it sort of steers away from the bubbly rounded edges that most GNOME releases seem to be going for at the moment, and it has a very distinctive sharp look to it out of the box. Just looking through the taskbar there, and you can see the notifications panel, status and notification panel. You get KDE Connect, which is about connecting your mobile phone, and that works actually really well. You can do stuff like type text messages on your desktop and then send them directly from your desktop using KDE Connect, which is really useful. Yeah, it works really well. Because this is KDE Neon, you do get the latest and greatest KDE apps, and of course you get the latest and greatest of Kdenlive, because Kdenlive, we sometimes forget, is provided by the KDE community. So I would be expecting Kdenlive to really run like the clappers here and be really super fast, and indeed it does. So just giving you a demonstration here as I drag and drop these test videos that I've been downloading as I've been putting together this review. As with my other reviews, I will be putting this video together using the distro that I'm reviewing, and just to check if I come across any issues. So as you can see, scrubbing through, as I scrub through here the videos, it catches up instantly. I mean, it feels so fast and fluid. I don't know how they do this. But given my experience on some of the GNOME releases, scrubbing through on here is just fantastic. Kdenlive on this distribution just feels so fast and fluid. I mean, I've got to test it. I've got to test actually rendering a video to see if that's even any quicker. Let me just save this now, and we'll just go to render, and let's see how fast this thing actually renders. As you can see, I've got a video which is about 11 minutes long there that I've just quickly whizzed together. And let's just render that to file and see how long that takes. Now, you know, I'm not expecting magic here. You know, my system is as fast as my system is. It's the CPUs are as fast as they are, and the RAM is as much as it is. So in this case, it's a 4th gen i7 with 16 gig of RAM. I'm not expecting a miracle in terms of how fast this goes. But we'll just do this quick test for a bit of fun and see how fast the rendering works. What I'll do is I'll just I've started that render, and we'll skip to the end to see how fast it did it. But you know, this isn't an easy render. It's 2560 by 1440 frame size, and look at that. It's done it in 11 minutes 24, which is approximately the length of the video. So, you know, perfectly functional. It's not an M1 Mac by any means, but perfectly functional in terms of putting together quick videos if they're only 15 minutes long and you've got time to go away and make a coffee. So, looking through this distribution, you get Firefox as a default browser. Let's take a look at the KDE Neon website. As you can see, it's provided by kde.org. So you are downloading this from the horse's mouth as a KDE release, so to speak. It's coming directly from KDE. What does it say here? So it says solid core latest features. So I've downloaded the stable release here, and of course it's saying that it comes with the stability of long-term support release. So let's just take a closer look as I go into console. Console is the KDE version of terminal, and let's just take a look. So I'm using a tool called IronXI to find out information, a bit deeper information on what exactly I'm running. As you can see here, I'm running kernel 5.13, and the desktop environment is KDE Plasma 5.24.4, and the distribution is KDE Neon 20.04, and the Ubuntu release, which is its base, is Ubuntu 20.04 LTS, which is the latest at time of recording of the Ubuntu base, and that gives you support from Ubuntu up until 2025, and security support up until around 2030, I believe. You can see a bit more detail on my processor there, which is a Dell 4th Gen core, as I've mentioned before. I'm also running NVIDIA graphics, as if you've watched my other reviews, you'll know some of the issues I've had with having the NVIDIA graphics, but no such problems on this KDE Neon release. Let's take a look at the frequently asked questions. What is KDE Neon? KDE Neon is a rapidly updated software repository. Essentially, you get the latest and greatest KDE application. Is this the KDE distro? Nope, it says. Is it a distro? Not quite. It's a package archive with the latest KDE software on top of a stable base. So, in one sense, I would describe it as a distro because you download it as an ISO and you can run it on your system. But KDE themselves don't describe it as a distro. It's more the KDE latest and greatest KDE apps on a stable KDE and Ubuntu base, and that is why it's so quick. I mean, the amazing thing, as you can see on the total CPU use widget I've got running there in the corner, is my Dell fans haven't kicked in at all. They only kicked in, actually, when I was rendering the file within Kdenlive, which is understandable. I mean, that happens almost with anything. However, I feel that this KDE release really is fantastic, and certainly works really well on my Dell here. Obviously it's got a UHD screen, so in terms of resolution, it's not often that I come across a Linux release that can fully support all the resolutions that this screen can support, and KDE Neon certainly does. Now, I will say, as a bit of a sort of summary of this review, this really has been a bit of an ultra fast video for what is an ultra fast slick distribution. Okay, fair enough, not distribution, but Linux release, let's put it like that. It is very slick. However, I did have problems, and these are problems that are commonly found with KDE releases, recording audio in this case. So I didn't have problems this time with the discrete video card, the NVIDIA. No problems whatsoever there. Whilst KDE Neon did recognize the various sound input devices and the various headphones and headsets and recording devices, I found that the webcam software that I normally use to record this piece to camera just didn't work at all. So I tried Komoza, I tried Webkaminoid, I even tried Cheese, which just didn't work at all. None of them would work in terms of recording audio, and some of them were really glitchy even with recording the video. The only thing that I found to work recording this piece to camera was OBS. And OBS is a fantastic piece of software in its own right, and I've got no problem with that. But I can imagine that if you are a bit of a newbie to Linux and you think, wow, yeah, I'll give KDE Neon a go, and you find these sort of problems, then that might put you off a bit. It wasn't the system itself, it wasn't even the Ubuntu base, but it was actually to do with the KDE applications. Now, fair enough, the KDE applications that I was using aren't actually provided by the KDE people themselves, so yeah, it's fair enough. However, within the known releases that I've reviewed, Cheese has kind of been my go-to recording app for this piece to camera. I would also say, as well, in summary, that what they give you out of the box, they sort of deposit you straight into the desktop. So this isn't really a release for the in one sense, for the newbie person, unless you're willing to have a go and go through the various YouTubes and various manuals online as to how to get to grips with this environment. However, if you are a user, a Linux user with a bit of experience, or an experienced Linux user, then this may be the release for you. As I said, it comes with a stable Ubuntu base, so you're going to get security updates until 2030, which is just incredible. Imagine that. I mean, I might do a video on this in and of itself as to why would you choose Linux over Windows 10, for example. Windows 10 is going to be booting users out from 2025 because Microsoft stopped supporting Windows 10 from 2025. They want users to move to Windows 11. And of course, if you're running a certain level of hardware, you can't run Windows 11. So you really are stuck unless you run Windows 10 unsupported, or unless you run Linux or another release like BSD. So there, Windows. So there, Microsoft. Why would you run Linux? Well, you get security updates until 2030. So that's one of the reasons why you might want to install something like this. If you are someone who likes to fully customize your desktop, then this may be the release for you. There are just so many options within KDE. You can make this desktop environment look any way you want, to be honest. If you want the bubbly corners, the rounded corners, then you can go ahead and do that. Download a theme. It's as easy as that. Or even create your own theme and make it look however you want it to look. And that really is kind of the secret sauce with KDE. Everything is there to customize. You can make it behave in whatever way you feel comfortable. And I would say if you're one of those people who really want something that's snappy and runs well on your laptop or on your desktop, then perhaps KDE is the release for you, and in particular KDE Neon if you fancy giving theming a go and customizing it to exactly the way you want it to run. So that's about all from me, I would say. I hope you enjoyed this review, and again, if you have enjoyed this review, please give me a thumbs up. I'd love to hear your comments as well on what you would like me to review next in terms of all the distros, the Linux distros out there. You've been watching Techiechap. If you like this, then please click like and subscribe. There'll be more videos to come.